Beyond Carnism, we have a handful of projects in the pipeline that I'm really excited about. Our most immediate project, our current one, is around my new book called The Vegan Matrix, Understanding and Discussing Privilege Among Vegans to Build a More Inclusive and Empowered Movement. I wrote this book at the height of AR Me Too, but the subject of privilege and oppression has been something that I had been wanting to talk about and write about for a very long time. It's near and dear to my heart, something that I have been personally passionate about for many, many years, and I've been active in social justice causes for the entirety of my career before I started working in animal rights. So I had been involved in Feminists for Animal Rights, the chapter in Boston in the early 1990s, and involved in various social justice actions in the 80s onward. And I taught university courses on privilege and oppression and social transformation, on feminism, and also on related issues. Many other people in our movement and beyond have written about this issue. And so there are materials out there. I refer to a number of them in my book. There's great work that's done by Christopher Sebastian and Sil and F. Coe, Lisa Kemmerer, Encompass. They're doing great work around the issue of privilege. I ended up writing about this during AR Me Too because I felt, number one, I finally had the time to do that. And number two, I recognized that there actually was a need for material that would complement the existing material. So I wanted to have a book that I could share with people that would be really like an introduction to the issue, like Privilege 101, essentially, specifically for vegans. I also wanted to write about privilege in the movement because as a woman in the movement, I was no stranger to sexism within the movement and outside of the movement, right? So I really wanted to share some of my personal observations as a woman. And of course, the book is not just about male privilege, it's about white privilege and other forms of privilege as well. I also wanted to be able to provide guidelines for how to talk about privilege in a way that increases the chances that the conversation will be productive and lead to transformation rather than reinforce some of the defensiveness that is, all too common. All of my work reflects my personal experience in some ways. I guess this is true for everyone. I talk about my work around Carnism reflecting my experience as a person who grew up caring about animals and, certainly not wanting to contribute to harm toward animals, having a dog who I loved like a family member, and also as a person who grew up eating animals. And I talk about my experience having gotten sick from eating a contaminated hamburger and then becoming vegetarian and then vegan after that, and really making the connection between meat, eggs, and dairy and the animals that those products had been procured from. My other work also reflects my personal experience. I have 2 books that I've written on relationships beyond beliefs, which is for vegans and vegetarians, and meat eaters and relationships, and my newer book, Getting Relationships Right, which is a one-stop guide to building relational literacy, which is the understanding of an ability to practice healthy ways of relating. And I have been a long time relationship coach, supporting people in relationships, and this is an area of interest that I've had both personally and professionally for a very long time. And so I've really worked to bring that interest and experience working with people in relationships and just in the space of relationships into the work that I do, supporting vegans and the vegan movement and social transformation. So raising awareness of, relationships as a forum for social transformation, and raising awareness of relational literacy, and really supporting vegans to be able to cultivate healthy relationships and effective communication so that they are more resilient, so that the movement becomes more resilient, and so that we can all together help create a more relational, healthier world for everyone. Most of the people in my life who I'm close to are vegan, but I do have some friends and family members who are not vegan, who I'm very close to, actually. And And for me, whether somebody is vegan or not does not determine whether I am willing to or interested in being in a close friendship with them or family relationship with them. It's whether they respect me and see me and relate to me in a way that I feel is healthy. That's what's most important. And this is what I've written about in Beyond Beliefs, where it's the relationship beneath the beliefs that really determines how we feel when we are interacting with or in relationship with another individual. So for me, in my life, if I have people who are vegan allies, those are supporters of veganism and vegans, and who have committed to trying to be as vegan as possible, that is totally fine for me, and I'm able to have a secure, connected relationship with them as long as they relate to me in a way that is healthy. It's the same thing that's behind me, which are vines that my husband Sebastian planted about 3 years ago now, that were like this big, and they're creeping vines on the walls of our flat. And there's one plant on either wall of my living room, and they cover the ceiling now. So that's what it is. They're living vines. Sebastian has brought the green inside.